When you want a 7-seater, large SUV for a good price, what about the 2020 Hyundai Santa Fe? Apart from an excellent warranty and fairly reliable reputation, Santa Fe has a lot of things to offer, not the least being vast amounts of space. And over the years it's also been updated. This 2.2 litre version that I've got here, which is a turbo diesel, now also comes in a 3.5 litre V6. All external lighting is LED and the headlights are automatic with high beam assist. Above are the turn signals and daytime running lights, and there's cameras and sensors. And the cameras and the sensors together offer 360 degrees worth of protection. There's also automatic parking. And this is quite a complicated process. It's one of those processes I think that in the past has become largely redundant. People tend not to use it. But look, here it's quite handy. There's also a camera for autonomous emergency braking and large 19-inch wheels, built-in roof rails and a large panoramic sunroof. I think Santa Fe looks quite good in profile. There's a bit of a sweep up here at the back and a large rear door. The seat slides forward and folds flat with one easy motion. It also slides forward to give you access to the third row, which by the way has its own air conditioning. The outer seats also have heating and there's plenty of room in the back, and this seat is set quite a long way back. The center console contains a little cubby hole, rear air conditioning vents and 2 USB ports. Rather handily, you can control the front seat from the back seat, so that if there's not quite enough legroom, you can tell the person in front to bugger off. Actually, no, it won't operate if there's someone in the front seat. But look how much seat room that gives you. And that means you can slide your seat forward so that there's a little bit less legroom in the back, but that the third row has sufficient for someone to get in. Have a look at the Infiniti speaker grills. That looks so classy. There's a large pocket as well, which includes a bottle holder. And for the last little bit of luxury, there's some cup holders in the back seat. If you've got the key on you, which I don't, it's in the front, the tailgate will open automatically. You can put the third row up by just gripping the tab and pulling the back seat up. Doesn't leave a whole lot of space in the back though, just enough room for a knapsack or two. There are also buttons that if you press, releases the back seats and they fall down in one simple motion. That's the rear air conditioning control and rear air conditioning vents. There's also a spot where you can plug in a fridge or some other electrical device and some cup holders. And in a last little touch of luxury, you've even got a rear window shade. There's lovely surfacing on the door, a couple of memories for the electric seats, and a rather complex door panel. Down below there's a spot for a bottle and some more of those nice Infiniti speaker grills, which I think look really classy. Inside in the lower dash, there's some controls for your all-wheel drive lock, active lane control, blind spot monitoring, traction control, and the rear electric door. There's a large 7-inch central LCD screen and some conventional instruments either side. Rather cleverly, when you turn the car off, it tells you if you've left something in the rear seat. There's a large 8-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and the dash is clearly laid out. Some simple controls for the dual air conditioning for the front, don't forget there's another zone in the back, USB, auxiliary, power outlets, and the Qi wireless charger. The selector for the 8-speed automatic, and behind that, the controls for parking sensors, automated parking, the 360-degree view camera, automatic hold, electric parking brake, the drive mode selector, and downhill descent control. The interior has a very classy look. There's quilting at the top of the seats. The front seats have both heating and cooling. And over in the passenger side of the dashboard, there's a little cubby hole with this quite nice patterned bottom to it. Santa Fe is remarkably easy to maneuver. In fact, it feels like a much smaller car, until you try and park it, of course. Then the automated parking does come in quite handy. The ride is sensational. Santa Fe has McPherson struts at the front and multi-links at the rear. And the steering, which has quite a lot of feel to it, considering, is rack-mounted electric power steering. And while you're doing most of your driving in the city, the power steering is light and easy and has a reasonable amount of feel. Once you get onto the highway, however, of course, it's a different kettle of fish. It firms up. And of course, there are drive modes. Even at very slow city speeds, it feels comfortable and composed. Stadium that our utterly irresponsible Premier had knocked down. Nothing wrong with it, except the corporate sponsors wanted nicer boxes. So she had it knocked down. Stupid woman. There are a lot of additions to Santa Fe that you'll appreciate once you're on the move. For example, the blind spot monitoring is constantly watching out for your every move. And if it senses someone coming, it won't allow you to open the doors. I think that's extraordinary. I know I mentioned before that it's smooth and quiet, but gosh, we're at 73 now, and this is extraordinary. It is an extraordinary car. It feels much, much more expensive. On my heads-up display, I can see the speed limit, the speed I'm doing, and the lines for the active lane control. Also, when a car comes into my blind spot, that comes up on the heads-up display as well. Unfortunately, the speed limit display is not a speed recognition system, so it operates on the maps, which unfortunately isn't always 100% accurate. So if you've had a lot of road work in your area, chances are the speed is going to be wrong. In my area, just about all the speed limits have changed over the last 12 months. So when it says 60, it's in fact 80 or 50. So you really do have to pay attention. Then of course we come to things like the CarPlay that I mentioned before, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That allows you to do things just by voice control. I don't have it plugged in at the moment. And so you can just say, hey Siri, call home, or whatever, and it will. You can say, hey Siri, take me home, and it will. And you don't have to press any buttons on the...
Calling home.
No.
Home.
No, stop. No, don't call, no, don't, no. Sorry, as you were. I didn't want it to call home because I'm obviously not home. But it does prove that it works, even when you don't want it to. Where Santa Fe, and indeed all of Hyundai, comes up trumps is the fact that their cars are reasonably priced, considering what's in them. It's got a 5-star rating for safety. Now that we've entered a tunnel, the automatic lights have come on, and it's selected low beam, obviously, because we don't need high beam. And the smart cruise control is keeping me a set distance from the car in front. I'm not touching any pedals, and it's gone from 80 kilometers an hour down to 70. So, as well as that, the active lane control is keeping me within the lane, and it's nice and gentle. Unlike some cars where it ping-pongs you down the highway, this is subtle and more discreet. You might expect a rattly old diesel engine to be quite noisy, but this one isn't. It's noisy on the outside-ish. But the thing about diesel engines, all diesel engines, is that they are very torquey, which means that When people talk about power, most of the time what they're talking about is torque. And low down, it means this car has lots of grunt. It has all-wheel drive. Only the diesel model has all-wheel drive, and the button I showed you before will lock it in 50-50. It's on-demand four-wheel drive, by the way. That's always active. Whilst it doesn't do you much good in the city, it's extremely good in rough terrain, dirt roads, a little bit of sand, perhaps a bit of snow, and it gives you traction where you wouldn't normally get traction. Hyundai's sister company Kia is coming out with a new Sorento before the end of the year, and that's a direct competitor to this, so it'll be interesting to see just exactly how it compares. While I've got you here, see how far that roof goes back. It'll be a bit noisy with it open, but just see how far that goes back. This is an absolutely enormous opening, and there's nothing I like better than a big opening. Let's close that because I can't hear myself think. And we're back to being quiet again. I could imagine with my seat heating and cooling and Apple CarPlay and 8-speed automatic doing its thing, that I could do a very long trip in this car and feel very, very comfortable. It's watching out for me. I feel safe. It is a big car, there's no doubt about it. But gosh, everything it does well. Of the three models, Highlander is my choice. If there's a small problem, I guess, and it is just a small one, the third row of seats is probably best left for smaller people. Santa Fe is an easy car to drive. It's economical and it's spacious. If I was still rating cars, I'd give it a really good rating. I like the interior, it's classy. So, having said all of that, and now that you know all about Hyundai Santa Fe Highlander, hit just there to subscribe. Oh, and don't forget, if you've liked the film, hit like.